Hello, Pastor Doug, back again with another Lost Words. Today we're going to take a look at the word awful. Now, when you hear the word awful, do you think of something that's good or bad? Most of us think awful is awful, in other words, bad. That's not what it originally meant. So this is from the Webster's Dictionary of 1828, and the first definition of awful is that strikes with awe, that fills with a profound reverence, as the awful majesty of the Lord our God. Yes, it can mean terror. Number 2, that fills with terror and dread as the awful approach of death. And terror is not necessarily a bad thing. You should have terror when it comes to God, but it can be a bad thing depending on the consequence. But you notice the first definition is positive. And the third definition here, struck with awe, being scrupulous, is again generally positive. It's interesting, if you go down to the very bottom, it does admit, even back in 1828, when they had a better understanding of language, our common people, I love that, use this word in the sense of frightful, ugly, detestable. So the commoners, the less educated people, use it incorrectly. But of course, this becomes the official meaning. Let's go to the modern Merriam-Webster's. And what's the first definition of awful? Extremely disagreeable or objectionable. So it's a bad thing. And yes, it admits it can be awe-inspiring, but of course the example here is almost universally negative. Awful food, awful behavior, an awful experience. It's just terrible. Now the reason this has changed is because we've lost all sense of God. Because awful is based on awe. And what's awe? Fear mingled with admiration or reverence. Reverential behavior. To have godly fear. Psalm 4, verse 4. Stand in awe and sin not. To have fear, dread, inspired by something great. And of course, that's God. But when you lose all sense of God, you lose all sense of fear of authority. You lose all sense of awe. And therefore, you can't have anything that's truly awful. And awful is a good thing. Well, I hope that helps. As always, Christ's grace and peace to you all. Amen.